So I consider myself in the medium bracket, and upgrading to a, almost top tier, but no, because there are motion simulators that go for $30,000, $40,000. There are wheels that are thousands of dollars, pedals that are $1,000. Now that is super high end. I am moving to like the high spectrum of the middle or the low spectrum of the high end. Regardless, that seems to be more than enough for me. The system that I currently have now I would consider is, more on the low end in the medium, where is I don't have the, basic, simple Logitech system with, homemade things and trying to save as much money as possible. Obviously I did spend a little bit more money than that, but I still went kind of cheap, and we'll go over why. All right, here we go, my setup. So here we are taking a look at my current racing setup. Apologize for the mess. Is what it is. Lots of wires. Moved it around a few times after remodeling this room. And we also knew we were going to be doing crazy upgrades, so we didn't want to get too crazy with running all the wires, specifically through wire looms and everything tied up, if we're just going to be moving it again soon anyway. We have the computer here with the Xbox and a big screen TV. And then we have the racing sim all connected together. We have the VR connected so it can be played in this room as well as with the racing sim. So let's go over some of the things we purchased the first time around. Up you can see we have the curved smart TV. This is capable of HDR, which is good if you have the Xbox One S or X. They will run Forza and Horizon 3 in full HDR, which looks really beautiful, especially with the curved screen. I'm not sure exactly the size, but I think it's like a 40 or a 45. And it seems to work pretty well. Gives you that immersive feeling. Onto the wheel. So we have the ClubSport version 2. It's not the newest model, the version 2.5. It's still a belt-driven motor. The version 3 pedals with the ClubSport damper kit currently on the brake. And I have had this on the accelerator, and I can say that it's very nice on the accelerator, turned way down as well. But I do prefer on the brake, at least for this specific setup that I have going on. Again, this is another thing that we are in the middle of upgrading. The overall platform is a GT Omega. The GT Omega Racing. The seat is absolutely wonderful. It slides back and forth on rails, and it also has, the adjustments to move the backrest and holes for your seat belts. It's probably not real leather, but it's really comfortable, and it's not something I plan on upgrading. It's something I plan on reusing. So the GT Omega stand, as you can see, is pretty decent. It does the job. It's a stable motion rig. It does not move. I did add some rubber feet to the bottom of it, so that way when things were shaking, it wouldn't necessarily transfer all of the shaking to the ground and the rest of the house. It would kind of confine all of the vibration to the sim rig. We then move on to my Fanatec version 1.5 shifter, which is phenomenal. I couldn't recommend a better shifter. And I also have the Handbrake, which I'm not in love with from Fanatec, but it does do the job, at least until I figure out where I want to go with probably a hydraulic style handbrake. But that's a future video. We have the entire 5.1, actually it's a 5.2 surround system going on here. I have an Onkyo receiver. There it is. So it allows me to have my large subwoofer in the corner over here, as well as the center channel speaker, the two front speakers. Obviously you saw the two rear speakers. And then we also have again, the bass shaker, which hits the really low notes and shakes the crap out of the whole room pretty much. And then we have the two harmonic transducers, which really they don't shake the way that the bass shaker shakes. They more vibrate through all spectrum of sound. So you kind of get that, that rumble all the time rather than just when big bass shakes happen. And this is all connected just, you know, through HDMI. All the sound goes through the machine. There's no sim vibe or anything. You can play this on the Xbox, in Forza. All the sound works. Everything works phenomenal. Again, there's the computer. You can run it. You can run it with headphones if you chose to, but I prefer, you know, a little bit more sound. You can also turn the speakers off and just run it with the vibration and headphones, and that's pretty nice as well. There's still, you know, obviously some vibration and some shaking, but it's nowhere near, you know, what it would be if you had the speakers turned on as well with a loud racing engine. Next, we'll talk about the TV stand. TV stand also came with the GT Omega platform. It's adjustable up, down. You know, you can make it basically fit any area. It's very adjustable, which is very nice. Coming back to the chassis, it is funny that the chassis is adjustable, but not on the fly. And you can see, you know, that it's just some bolts. So if you want to move things around, you have to take the bolts out, put new bolts in, which doesn't really help when you have different sized people. Now, for me, it's not really a problem because mostly I just use the racing sim, but when my kids come over, they're usually struggling to find a good driving position. Or if a larger friend of mine comes over, he's usually struggling to find a larger position. He wants to bring the steering wheel towards him, and there's really just no way to do that. Some more adjustability would be nice. Not critical, but again, mid-grade system. All right, so I've shown you my racing system that I'm currently using. It is a great system. I'm not going to knock what I have. I'm sure there are people out there that don't have anything near this and are, you know, would love to run in this simulator because it is excellent. But it's not fully immersive, and that's what I'm really going for. You know, in the beginning, I wasn't sure how much I would use it or if the games were going to be as amazing, or, you know, you get scared when you start spending thousands of dollars on a toy. So I went light. Here I am 2.5 years later, still wanting to do it, still racing all the time. So I felt like I could invest a little bit more money. Let's go over my initial purchases, why I chose them, and why I'm upgrading. First thing let's talk about is the racing chassis that we're sitting in. Again, from GT Omega, it's a great price. I think it was $500 or $600 shipped with the seat, which is really a great deal. It was easy to put together. The price was right. I'm sure I could have spent a little bit more money and maybe got some more adjustability. But 2.5 years ago, there weren't as many options as there are today. So I chose this. I don't regret it. It's still a great little racing chair. It has served me well. Again, I did make the modifications of the rubber feet, which definitely helped out with the transferring the vibration through the house. And really trying to keep the vibration to the sim rig. You don't want to vibrate the house, because if you do that, you're actually losing vibration in the sim rig. So I'm trying to keep as much of the vibration in the sim rig as possible. I would definitely purchase this again for the price. If this was really the only, you know, option, if you're not looking for any kind of motion and you're looking for a standalone, you know, dedicated sim rig, this one works fine for the money. On to the wheel. Now, I didn't get the 2.5 version. I have the version 2 wheelbase. It still works perfectly. It's got tons of hours on it. I have two different wheels. I have this wheel and I have the large suede wheel that they also sell. Excellent wheels. They really are. Fanatec does a great job. There's a million reviews out there of people who are racing with the Fanatec equipment. Compared to like a Logitech or something you could buy off the shelf, it's absolutely no comparison. But then there are these newer wheels that are coming out that are direct drive. They're also 2 to 3 times the price. But, you know, you got to find where your middle ground is. To me, this works excellent. I'm going to be using this for a while until we do upgrade to the direct drive. On to the actual steering wheel and the adapter, the control box, everything. So the ones that I have are specifically set up to run on Xbox. They can use Windows as well, but they're made to run on Xbox. So really that was my first goal, was to not use the computer to run these games. I wanted to run everything on the Xbox to make it simple. Plug and play, You know, computers, you know as well as I do, they're finicky. They can not run sometimes. Drivers don't want to load. You know, I plugged it into the Xbox, everything worked, and I was able to race and have a good time. So that was the end result again. That was the end goal, was to have fun. If I'm constantly working on this stupid thing and it won't work, I get frustrated fast and I will stop using it. I try to avoid that if all possible. So when I first got into it, again, the Xbox was the way to go. I had the PC for the VR. I just never really meshed the two together until recently. Started playing the games on the racing sim from the computer and opened up a whole new world. That's why we're upgrading. TV, again, curved TV. It works great. I think I picked it up for about 450 bucks. It's made by Samsung. You know, it does the job. It doesn't give you the wraparound feeling, but it's easy on the eyes, and it really still gives you that like immersion level you're looking for. The nice thing too is you can move it forward, move it backwards, depending upon where you feel like it should be for the vehicle dynamic to work properly, so you feel like you're driving inside of the vehicle. As the shifter goes, this Fanatec shifter is fantastic for 200 bucks. I'm not saying you can't spend more and get a nicer shifter, but for 200 bucks, you get an excellent shifter. You get two beautiful shift knobs. This one's real heavy. This one's heavy. This one's light. I prefer the light aluminum one, but it works great. You can have the 6-speed, or I'm sorry, 7-speed, or you can also go sequential with it, and you can tighten up the action on how much it takes, and I have it set all the way down, which is the way I kind of like it. It's more realistic. Then I have the handbrake mounted to the shifter, and again, the handbrake feels a little, you can just tell it's just a big spring in there. I'd prefer maybe something hydraulic. It doesn't feel very natural pulling it. It does do the job, and for the price they're asking, it's really worth it, but it is something that I am looking to upgrade in the future. The version 3 pedals are great pedals if you only want to spend, you know, 300 bucks. They now have the version 3 inverted pedals, which is what we're going to be upgrading to, which is nice because they're inverted kind of like a real car. They still do a great job. Still phenomenal pedals. I am having a problem with one of the sensors on my clutch. If I fiddle with it sometimes, I can make it work, and then other times it goes off, and I've just gotten to the point where I'm done fiddling. So again, we're upgrading. Onto the speaker system. Now you can kind of do what you want here. This is a great place to save money. You can run with headphones and literally avoid all of this crazy expensive equipment. And then add that stuff later because, you know, you need the wheel and the TV, you know, to run. You don't need necessarily this crazy exotic sound system. So I went with, again, I went with the Onkyo receiver, hooked up to, you know, 5.1 digital surround. It sounds amazing. It's a standalone system. It still works with the PC. But it's not necessary. So again, I'm going to be reusing the majority of this stuff on the new sim rig, at least until I get some kind of a sim vibe software going. Haven't got that far yet. There's still a lot of work to do and other hurdles that we're going to be doing. So let's take a minute and talk about the sound shaking, the vibration. The bass shaker, which only does like a subwoofer, like very low sounds, and it just shakes the crap out of the whole rig. And you actually have to turn it down because too high it's just unrealistic. It literally shakes the bolts out of things. But it gives you that like punch when you hit something, or if you hit a curb, it kind of gives you that jolt, and it kind of just for a second makes you believe that you're out there racing. So then we have the sonic transducers, and again, they kind of vibrate through all frequencies, not just the low band like a subwoofer. So like when you're revving the engine, you get that sense of vibration through the pedals, through the seat. So let's talk about some of the upgrades that we're going to be doing.